Hey YouTube, this is Archangel for Truth, and today my video for you is addressing the YouTuber FW in Florida. Now, I wish to explain that FW has posted some responses to my video, previous video to this one, which is entitled Driving as a Right and Not as a State Pay-to-Play Privilege. And so FW has posted several responses where he disagrees to the points that I'm making. But the problem is, FW, is, as I point out to you, is you fail to actually explain how you feel that any of these particular court cases address the issues I'm raising in my video. So, to explain briefly, the video that I've produced is explaining how driving is a Ninth Amendment unenumerated right. One, and the other point that I make is that the agencies charged with regulating driving have, as an abuse of discretion, made a determination which it does not have the right to do. And so I'll explain briefly what that is. And so what that is the agencies made the determination that driving is a privilege and not a right. Now, here's the problem with that. Now, I go into this in detail in my other video, so I'll just briefly do it here. The legislature nor the Congress ever made such a determination that driving was a privilege. Okay? They're the ones that actually are charged with making laws. But now, as a result, they charge agencies with regulating. And so, when charging the agencies with regulating driving, they never gave to these agencies the right to make any determination about what rights are or what our privileges are. So, that is why when the agencies made the determination that driving is a privilege, they did so as an abuse of discretion. Now, the problem exists because what you have nowadays is you have police officers and people who wish to argue that driving is a privilege. They don't understand where that comes from. Okay? In order for it to be legitimate, in order for it to be established, it has to be established appropriately. It was not. And so therefore, it's not a mute issue. It is an actual issue of fact. And so when the agency, as an abuse of discretion, made a determination that driving is a privilege, it did so as an abuse of discretion. So it doesn't have that authority to make that determination. Therefore, when police tell you driving is a privilege, they're basing it upon the determination made by the agency. Okay? So the agency doesn't have such authority, and therefore FW in Florida posted several court cases on my YouTube posting, and ultimately I've decided to address these court cases. Now, FW in Florida, I hope that you will explain how it is you specifically believe that these pertain to the issues that I raised specifically in my video. You failed to explain, even though I asked you to, and therefore ultimately am doing this video. Now, I will do videos like this on these other court cases, addressing whether or not they actually deal with the Ninth Amendment argument, or whether or not they deal with the argument pertaining to the agency having the authority to make a determination as it pertains to driving, or whether or not it's a privilege or a right. So this first court case that he lists on his posting is the court case called Cox versus the City of Ferguson. So I'll give you a little bit of background on this case. Basically, the plaintiff, his name is Willie Cox Jr., and he is a pro se litigant suing the City of Ferguson, where he's trying to recover damages, general damages of $1.5 million and actual damages of $1.5 million and punitive damages of $1.5 million. So he's really interested in getting a little bit of pocket change here. And so what his argument is he's complaining against the City of Ferguson that they have violated his right to travel. Now, ultimately, the right to travel is a right, but as I've stipulated before, we have rights, and these rights are ours, but does that mean that they're not regulatable? Now, that's a whole nother question, and that's a question I'm really not getting into at this point, but ultimately, this is what is the issue here. So, let's see, the case actually is dismissed for his failure to state a claim. So I have the case here before me, and based upon my reading of this case, I can tell already that there is no argument here made that pertain to the Ninth Amendment. Okay, he is not raising a Ninth Amendment argument at all. Okay, so I don't see how this applies to my video, other than his claim, his right to travel, and I don't see how this is actually addressing the issue of whether or not the agency charged with regulating driving has the authority to make a determination of rights over privileges. So, FW, although this particular plaintiff's case fails because of his failure to state a claim, I don't see how you believe that this pertains to the issue of whether or not driving is a Ninth Amendment unenumerated right, or whether or not this is pertaining to the agencies charged with regulating driving have, as an abuse of discretion, violated their limited authority. So, since this is not even addressing these points that I've made, you're going to now have to explain why you believe that this is pertinent to the issues that I raise. Now, I get the part you may feel that, because his case failed that somehow gives you the belief that driving isn't a right. No, this is an individual case. It failed for his failure to state a claim. The court isn't deciding here a Ninth Amendment issue. They're not even addressing whether or not the agency is, as an abuse of discretion, making the statement that driving is a privilege. So again, FW, please explain why it is you feel this particular court case has anything to do with the issues I raised in my previous video. I'll allow you to go ahead and post, but understand, if you post in a disrespectful way, if you resort to name calling in your posts, understand I will delete your responses. So FW, I'm giving you this advance warning. Post like you're responding in a courtroom. Okay? Do so with respect. I've certainly been respectful to you, but ultimately, FW, I expect you to show the same. So, hey, this is your opportunity to explain how you believe this case, Cox versus City of Ferguson, apply to these issues. So I will await your response, FW. And in the meantime, everyone else, if you have any questions or would like to ask me anything as it pertains to the Ninth Amendment or the issues I raised in my previous video, by all means do so. I actually enjoy addressing these issues. And so in the meantime, I appreciate everyone who does like and share my videos. And, you know, you're entitled to disagree. And ultimately, we can disagree but still show respect to one another. So with that, I'm going to conclude this particular video here. And I say to you, God bless you and take care.